Clotee here. Remember, Patience Whipple's my name. 'Tis true.
I'm Margaret Ann Brady.
I'm Zipporah Feltman.
I'm Hattie Campbell.
Abigail Jane Stewart is my name.
So we just finished Abigail, 1778.
Let's carry on.
1910.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
1860.
Yep.
Okay. 1848.
Well then,
Come on then.
All right. Hattie Campbell will be our next story. Hattie Campbell, age 14, Oregon City, Oregon Territory, 1848. Hattie and her family completed the long and dangerous journey on the Oregon Trail. If you choose to join them in the American frontier, challenges, danger, and opportunity
Well,
await
come
you.
on.
So we're here in Hattie's little cabin. There she is, sitting by the fire. I think this is just a one-room cabin, or is this... Maybe this is a room in the cabin. Back then, cabins were very small, though. Did they just have one bed? Maybe this is her private room. But yeah, there she is. Bed, a little dresser. I like Hattie's story personally. She's one of my favorites. She's not my top favorite. I will reveal that a little bit later. We've not gone to her yet, though, but we will. I also really like the music. It's very nice, easy, breezy music. Alright, we're gonna listen to everything Hattie has to say.
This Oregon Territory is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. Everything grows here in the summer, and the winter isn't nearly as bad as back in Missouri. Seems like more and more folks is arriving off the Oregon Trail every day. Pa says at this rate we'll be living in a bustling city before long. It's hard to believe we made it all the way along the Oregon Trail right to its very end. We walked until even our blisters had blisters. I'm real glad to be settled here in Oregon, but I sure do miss some of our friends back home in Missouri. The best thing about finally reaching Oregon is I'll never have to cross another river in a wagon. Where we live was just organized into the Oregon Territory. Maybe one of these days we'll become a state. Lots of folks around here are heading out for California on account of they just struck gold there, but I think we got plenty of opportunity right here. Pa says they got just about everything for sale up at the Fort Vancouver Trading Post. Once we got here to Oregon City, Pa built us a fine cabin with a stone fireplace and a window that looks out onto the road that goes right along the river. Ma says in order to move forward, we've got to forgive the past. Sure hope I can do that here. I got my first diary from my Aunt June when I turned 13. She says it's proper for a young lady to record her thoughts. All sorts of folks have been moving into Oregon lately. Even rich folks have been building mansions around here with more rooms than you can shake a stick at. There's nothing quite like one of our chivalries. The fiddlers playing such lively music and folks dancing up a storm. After what we've been through on the trail, I don't think Pepper and I will ever stop being best friends. I sure am glad we got a cow of our own now, though I'm not sure how much more butter I'll be able to churn. I'm still amazed at how tall the trees grow out here in the west. I guess some of them must be hundreds of years old. first thing Pa did when we got here was plant a whole mess of cherry and apple trees. They're so tall now, pretty soon Ma and me'll be baking more pies than we've ever seen. Every time I look at Wade, I feel like he's about the most special boy I know. Makes me sorry still how he nearly passed away on account of a mistake I made on the trail. Wade says it takes 340 squirts to fill a gallon bucket with cow's milk. I suspect I'll find out soon enough. This Oregon Territory is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. Everything grows here in the summer, and the winter isn't nearly as bad as back in Missouri. Seems like more and more folks is arriving off the Oregon Trail every day. Pa says at this rate we'll be living in a bustling city before long. It's hard to believe we made it all the way along the Oregon Trail right to its very end. We walked until even our blisters had blisters.
We're going to check out her little bio. Hattie Campbell, nickname folks just call me Hattie, age 14, birthday January 15th, 1834, born in Boonsville, Missouri. Lives in a small cabin with my family in Oregon City at the far west end of the Oregon Trail. Distinctive personality traits. I'm an adventurous girl. I guess having come all the way from Missouri, practically on foot. I have to admit though, I tend to worry about things too much. My friend Pepper says I'm romantic and sentimental. When I see someone try to take advantage of me or anyone I care about, I can get really upset. Favorite people. Back home in Missouri, my best friend Becky was my favorite person, but now it's Pepper Lewis. Even though she's married now, we've been through so much together. I also feel really close to my Aunt June. And then there's Pepper's twin Wade. I have to admit, I sure got a sweet spot for him. Family tree. Pa's name is Charles, Ma's is Augusta. I also got 2 younger brothers, Jake who's 6 and Benny who's 2. I had 4 sisters, 3 older and 1 younger. They all died back in Missouri in the same summer of swamp fever. Aw. Ma's sister Aunt June and Aunt June's husband Uncle Tim are also close family members. Loves kittens, swimming, when I get the chance, singing and dancing, romance, tins of sweet-smelling fragrant soap, and dancing with a boy I like. Really dislikes missing folks, having to eat my vegetables, having to wear a bonnet, snakes of any sort, fast rivers, and having to cross them in a wagon, having to get up early in the morning, and getting sunburned. Favorite place in the world? At our little table, looking out our window to the Oregon trees. Chores and skills, cooking, gardening, milking our cow, minding my brother Jake. Strongest memories. Once on a trail, I accidentally used water hemlock while making supper. 2 boys and little Cassia died because of it, and Wade came real close. I still have nightmares. Aw. Someday hopes to seeing everything there is to see in the Oregon Territory, falling in love, getting married, and living next door to Pepper. Here's a drawing of what it looks like crossing the Oregon Trail that was in the newspaper a few months back. Oxen struggling to haul a heavy load, folks pushing from behind to make it up hills. It all brings back so many memories. One thing though, we never really passed this close to any Indian camps. I think the artist was fudging things a bit. When we first got here, we lived in a makeshift tent for a while just to keep out of the rain. Right quick though, Pa got to work building us a real cabin like this one. We all pitched in, filling the spaces between the logs with mud and rocks. Here's a drawing of what Oregon City looks like these days. You can see lots of folks have been moving in and building like crazy right along the Willamette River. This drawing was given to me by one of the families that moved on to California looking for gold. This is a picture postcard Pa brought back from the trading post. It shows one of the prettiest sights we saw on the Oregon Trail, the Cascade Waterfall here in Oregon. After so many dusty days on the trail, we knew we had arrived someplace special when we saw these falls. Here's another sketch of our city. One of the new arrivals from the East did. He calls himself an artist. He says that means he imagines things and then he draws what he imagines. I guess he must have been imagining he was a bird when he drew this. I wonder if this is what everything looks like to a bird. Once we got settled here in Oregon, Pa bartered for a real butter churn. Don't know why, but this picture came with it. We let the milk sit in the churn for a couple of hours before the hard work begins. I always try to test the temperature of the cream before churning. If it's too warm, the butter comes out soft. If it's too cold, it takes hours and hours to churn. Alright, let's see what the first question will be. Where did I live before we moved to Oregon? Missouri.
That's right.
My first collectible is my grandmother's china plate. Mom calls it an heirloom, meaning that she's passing it on to me and someday I'll pass it on to my daughter. Can you find where I keep it in my cabin? Okay, what do we use to make candles? Alright, we'll keep an eye out for that. Let's begin Hattie's journey. Wednesday, November 1st, 1848, Oregon City, Oregon Territory. It's curious to think it's just over a year now since we've been settled here in Oregon City. Some days my memories of being on the Oregon Trail seem so alive and real in my head that it might have been just last week we was out there, sweating and getting stung by insects, and walking till even the blisters on our feet had blisters, seems like. Then other days it seems more like a far-off dream that maybe didn't really happen after all. Alright, we have our first message from Hattie. Anyone out there? Yes, I am. Good. Sometimes I get wondering if I'm just talking to myself. You ever feel like that, Kristen? Sometimes. You too? When I have a nightmare about the trail, I get that feeling. What are the nightmares about? One day I accidentally used poison roots in the camp supper. 3 kids died and my friend Wade nearly died. That's terrible. Do you have other nightmares? Yes, about the trail mostly. Like the time some folks got washed away trying to cross a river. Let's talk about happier things next time. Aw, poor Hattie. Saturday, November 4th. Finally, my chores are done and I have a minute to just sit and spell. Churning the butter's not really a favorite task of mine, but we're so lucky to have our own cow finally that I really shouldn't complain. Mom's been busy all day too with candle making. She's seen I'm not so good at mixing the beef fat to make tallow, so she does it mostly herself. All in all, I think things are going real well here in Oregon. It was a long and difficult journey, but now that I'm here, I'm glad we're not in Missouri anymore. Hi, Kristen. Want to play a guessing game to see how much you know about the Oregon Trail? Yep, I played the games. I should know a thing or two. Which of the following cities did the trail start in? Oh dear. Kansas? No, that's not. It was Independence. I knew that. Want another question? Yes. What's the name of the mountain we can see from Oregon City? Mount Oregon. Nope, it's Mount Hood. Aw, man, trick question. I didn't say I was good at the Oregon Trail game. Oh yes, we did pick up on how they make the candles. They use beef fat.
All right.
Seems like we can never have enough candles around here, and it's sure no fun making more. We first got to mix fat from beef to make tallow. Takes about 50 dips, if you're lucky, to make a candle. Look for it in my cabin. Okay. What color hair does Elizabeth have? Okay, we're gonna have to keep an eye out for Elizabeth and her hair color. Some very interesting things happen there, which I'll have to put down later as it's nearly time to eat, and I'm so hungry I could practically eat a whole buffalo. Do you like buffalo? I'd never eat buffalo. Well, what do you eat? Oh, pizza. What all is that? Brown bread with tomato and cheese. Sounds mighty good. Mighty is. Maybe Wade's a little jealous. Do you think I was wrong to dance with the other boys? Why would that be wrong? Wade's not your boyfriend. Well, Wade's a good friend. I don't want to hurt his feelings. Is that part of your secret problem? I'm not sure I'm ready to tell that. I hardly know you. Only if you want to. Well, I'll think on it a spell. Okay. She's still trying to gain our trust. Or we're still trying to gain her trust with us. Monday, November 6th. Today I took out two special things of mine. First, I got Grandma's china plate, which Ma says is an heirloom now. I kept it in my pocket all the way along the Oregon Trail, and all I know is I'm grateful it never broke through everything we went through. That's practically a miracle. My other thing is a stone from the North Platte River. Pepper gave it to me as a keepsake of the deep friendship we made coming west and the fine times we had together along the river under the summer sun. Kristen, want to hear more about my keepsakes? Yes, tell about the stone, because we know about the plate. Okay, it's a smooth coral-colored stone with thin threads of black run through it. It's beautiful to look at. It sounds pretty. It is. It's even more beautiful when I drop it in the water and it comes out all wet. Pa says he'll get it polished so it'll shine like it's wet all the time. How about the plate? My grandma got this plate when she and Grandpa got married. It's decorated with pretty pink roses. I still can't believe it made it all the way from Missouri. Alright, we know Elizabeth's hair color. Blonde sausage curls that made me feel like my own plain brown braided hair was nothing but a big mess. But Elizabeth acted just as friendly as a girl who might be living next door to us. I'll write more about it after I do some sweeping and other boring chores for Ma. What color is your hair? Well, it is a very weird mixture. I'll just say a brownish blonde. Sounds pretty perfect. Do you have curls? When I'll just say no. She doesn't know what a curling iron is, probably. No. Me neither. Sometimes I wish I did. Me too. Well, God gave us straight, so isn't much to be done about it.
Yep.
Aunt June gave me this book not long after we arrived in Oregon. It's full of comforting sayings and poems. She's always looking after me that way, making sure I get to be a proper young lady. I'm not one for much highfalutin words, but reading this book has helped me feel better lots of times. Alright, the next question. What was the first newspaper in the Oregon Territory called? Kristen, you busy with chores? up? Have you ever met someone and knew right away they were a friend? Yes. So, you know how I'm feeling about my new friend Elizabeth. I thought you were talking about me. Well, I guess I was too. Looks like I made 2 friends this week. Yes, you did. Even though you don't know what a curling iron is, but you know how to use instant messenger. Like I was saying, it's not that I'm lazy, just that sometimes seems unpleasant getting to school. I just as soon sit home by a big fire and learn to use the spinning wheel like Ma is. Pa learned how to build spinning wheels from a man in town and then made one for Ma. He says maybe one day we could even get our own sheep and have wool to spin. I told him I like the idea of having animals of every kind, but we might need a bigger barn soon. You got a big barn, Kristen? We don't have a barn. Where do you keep the horses and sheep? In my room. Very funny, Kristen. I knew you had a sense of humor when I first met you. Thursday, November 9th. Today I woke up thinking on that school called the Young Ladies Academy. With a name like that, it sounds comfy and cozy. And full of things a log school won't ever have. I bet anything Elizabeth goes to that school. I hope to see her soon, but I don't know how I'll manage that since I don't even know where she lives. Maybe tomorrow I should walk over to the academy to find Elizabeth. What do you think? Good idea. Then I will, tomorrow. You know, Kristen, part of me sorely wishes I could go to that school myself. Why do you want to go there? First of all, I bet they got good heat in every room and who knows what all. Second of all, I want to have the best education I can for I want to make something myself one day. Friday, November 10th, bedtime. It's getting dark earlier every day, which means we'll be burning more candles, which means I'll be making more candles. Felt sad all day today, as if the cold weather exposed the true and lonely nature of the frontier. I've decided I need more friends. My goal is to find Elizabeth. Then we could meet and talk, just like we planned. And maybe she'd remember about me asking me to supper, and I could go home with her. Pepper's still my closest friend, of course. Tell me more about Pepper. Pepper and I are still fast friends, but having a husband gives a girl a whole different sort of pattern to alter her life. So things are different between us now. Okay, what's so different between you? Well, I see her and Gideon together. I'm glad in my heart to seem so happy themselves, but I also feel kind of lonely. I feel a kind of lonely thing too. Pepper, Gideon, and baby Michael make a whole family, but I'm just me. What are you gonna do about it? Not sure yet. Been writing these thoughts to you makes me think directly on the private thing of my mind. I can't share it just yet, but it's a thing to get figured out fast, I hope. Sunday, November 12th. Fog, 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 and winds full and nasty wet. Fire in our little log house makes things nice and cheery, and as I sit here, it's crackling warm as toast. One thing I'm sure glad about this minute is that I don't have to go out anywhere the rest of the day, now that we're back from church. Turns out Wade's coming over for supper in a bit. Pa invited him, and I saw how his eyes lit up with happiness when he said, "Sure, Mr. Campbell, I'd be honored to come on by." Do you ever dream of your own wedding? Yes. Well, Pepper's wedding under the trees was real special. She wore her best dress. Was it Lacey? I knew you were rich. We rarely see lace out here. Pepper's dress was just calico, but it was mighty pretty. This past year, those trees have grown so much they're taller than me now. And Pa says pretty soon we'll have a whole plot full of beautiful blossoming things. And Ma says more pies than we can eat. There's nothing better than fresh fruit pie. Oh, what about chocolate cake? I never had a treat like that, but once or twice, if ever. It's not a thing you can go counting on in these parts. We eat cake all the time. Are you fooling me, Kristen? You must live in a land of milk and honey. Do you think it's better to be a state or a territory? A state. Why is that? Because you get to be part of the United States. That is something, isn't it? Fall's been nice, all of its orange and brown colors, and of course the corn husking were so much fun. It being so nice today, I kinda got an itch to try to find Elizabeth over at the academy. Do you think I should? Yes. I couldn't agree more. I'm off! Although this looks like just a rock, this stone is from the North Platte River and has a lot of meaning for me. Pepper gave it to me on the trail as a keepsake for our new friendship. It's very smooth since it's been worn down by the water and the other rocks rushing over it in the river for maybe hundreds of years. Alright, the next question will be, what are my nightmares usually about? Poisoning Wade on the trail.
You got it!
This carved comb came from some folks who were heading to California and needed to barter for some supplies. They said it was made back east, but I'm sure I wouldn't know if it was. Lots of folks going to California these days, even though they got to trade to get supplies to get there. Okay, what's the name of Pepper's husband? Gideon.
Good job!
This ring came all the way from New York City. My Aunt June says now that she seen how Wade and I are getting along, she says that it's time I start fancying myself up like a proper girl. Ma just shakes her head. What did Wade do after dinner? Well, I guess we'll find out. she would go to a school like that. She saw me with a look of surprise, but then she smiled. I didn't feel so awkward coming across her like that. Elizabeth and I may just become friends after all, Kristen. What did you do? We walked together a ways down Main Street and even went down by the river, tossed some stones as far as we could into the water while we talked. That sounds like a fun time. Fort Vancouver used to be run by Mr. McLaughlin, and even though he left there and came back to live in Oregon City, everyone thinks so highly of him, mostly I suppose because he was the one who started this whole town. I can hardly imagine what it would be like to come to some empty place and start your own city. There aren't that many folks here, of course, but more coming in every single day now, and however many it is, it's a heck of a lot more than none. How often do you go to the train post, Kristen? We don't have trading posts. How do you buy your flour and fabric and things? At the neighborhood mall, or the neighborhood store. There are some shops here in Oregon City, but it's nothing like the trading post where you can get stuff from back east, like hard candy. Monday, November 20th. We studied about our city and its short history today. Miss Wintergreen, our teacher, says even though folks keep coming in, our population is less now than last year due to gold being discovered in California. Lots of people are going off in hopes of finding their fortune, I guess. She says people are getting more crazy every minute to get rich on some crazy scheme. You ever been to California? I live in California. No fooling. I hear you can just reach down and pick nuggets out of the water. Well, I don't know about that anymore, but I guess, yeah, back then, absolutely. Maybe? I don't know. Do we still have gold here? Maybe we do. I assume it's all been found, though. Rolled back in his head, he fell backwards into the ground, panting furiously and sounding like he surely was having the life choked out of him. I screamed, "Wade, Wade!" But he kept on choking and no one came near to help me. He was clawing at the air in the wildest way too, as were the other poison children, and I was scared to death. Did I ever tell you I almost poisoned Wade in real life? Horrible. I didn't even mean to do it. There was this water hemlock and we were hungry. I didn't know it was poison. I wasn't thinking, I guess, and people died because of me. It wasn't your fault. You're good to try to soothe my feeling, but it was my fault. It was. So there's some stuff we still haven't noticed. It'd be grand if I could keep on riding just now, but I got my after-school chores to take care of, and Ma isn't going to let me get out of it. You got chores? Yes, I do. What do you have to do? I have to churn butter, and sweep the dirt floors, help make bread, make soap, and wring out the laundry. I gotta do the laundry. That doesn't sound so bad. I know a girl whose chore is to empty chamber pots every morning. If you don't know what a chamber pot is, don't ask. Oh dear. Thursday, November 23rd. All this talk around the house suddenly about rich folks. Aunt June and Uncle Tim was over for supper tonight with baby River Ann. So it was a big bunch in our little house, 7 counting all of us. Good thing we got some chairs and extra stools and things now so we can all sit at the same time. Not like last year. Pa said to all, and sounding right proud, how I got invited to the Sawyer's house. I tried to make it like it isn't a big thing, but I could see they were all impressed. What did your mother say? Ma said, yes, well, that's all nice and all, but just 'cause they got a big old house don't mean they better folks than us. That is true. Before bed. One thing I truly wish I had tonight with all the loud talk and hollering grown-ups was someplace quiet to go. Some days I hope to have just one room all to myself, just some private place on my own. Doesn't have to be big at all. But I'm afraid it'll take a while to have such a place unless I can get over all the questions in my head about weight and things. So till that happens, I gotta just sit here and listen to all that talk. Don't you like to be alone and think? Yes. Where do you go when you get feeling like that? To my room. Sounds like you get an awful lot of room there at your homestead. After all we've been through together on the trail and all, I sorely doubt that'll happen. Seeing Pepper's life makes me think about my own. Are you thinking of getting married? I suppose I am. Plenty of girls my age get married. Why, Pepper was 14 last year when she hitched up with Gideon, and everybody's looking at me like, why not me too? Girl, you're 14, you got time. Top it all off, Pa has asked whether I want to go with him back to the trading post in Fort Vancouver to pick up more supplies. You'd think I'd be happy about all this good fortune, but I'm not. That's because all 3 of these events are supposed to transpire tomorrow. Since I'm only one person and cannot do all 3, I must make a choice. And I'm going to take a guess that she needs our help deciding. Kristen, you have earned my trust and friendship. Which do you think I should do? Go on a walk with Wade, go to Elizabeth's house, go to the train post in Vancouver? Well, I know all the girls are gonna want me to go on a walk with Wade, right, ladies? No, there'll be one that says, I didn't want you to pick that one. I want you to go to Fort Vancouver. Well, I want to see what happens when she goes on the walk with Wade, too. Let's admit it. Wade it is. You reckon this walk will wind up making Wade and me more than just friends? If so, it'll be all your fault. Smiley face. That's me, Lilbumblebear the matchmaker. Sunday, November 26th, the big day. Wade just come by to take a walk with me. Pa asked him to take a look at the trees with the sun scorched. So, guess I'll write till they get back inside. I've been thinking about when I met Wade and Pepper on the way from Missouri. By the time we finally got here safe to Oregon City, after all those long, hard months, I felt Wade and me was real close. But sometimes his face shows a look now that seems to tell more than just us being friends. I hear Pa and Wade coming back. So, that's enough about that. Was there any? No, there wasn't. Oh, yes, there was. Pepper says Wade has feelings for me. What with this walk and all, I reckon that maybe she's right. Are you sweethearts? I just don't know. I'm not too sure I know what friendship is or what falling in love is. Or even if maybe I'm in love. Love, that is, right this very minute. Well, I'm in it. Love, that is, right this very minute. If I could just know for sure, I feel a whole lot more steady about things, seems like. You ever been in love? I think so. So you didn't know for sure? Sounds like me. Sunday after our walk. Wade was on his best behavior and looking very handsome. So even though it was cloudy and cold outside, I welcomed an excuse to get out for some air. Even wearing my mittens, I could feel the firm, warm touch of his fingers when he took my hand. We walked, not saying too much for a spell, except for when we saw some deer tracks and followed them through the woods a while. Then finally Wade says to me, "You know, Hattie, I never blame you for a second over what happened when I got poison out there. You know that, don't you?" I said, "I know that, but I'm not so sure I really do. My Lord, 3 children died." I felt somewhat better when Wade gave me the prettiest little vase I ever saw. What happened? After we'd followed the deer tracks for a while, we doubled back and walked down to the river where it was misty and even colder still. Then he took the vase out of his pocket and wrapped it in nice muslin and gave it to me. Oh, okay. Vase. That must have been a very small vase to fit in his pocket. I picture like a huge flower vase. Alright, just talking about persimmons. Pretty golden orange color, not till then is they good enough to eat. I like it if Pa would grow persimmons too. Pepper came over just as we was finishing up with the preserves, and she looked so nice and pretty in a new pretty calico dress that Gideon bought for her. She misses us being together every day, she says, and wants to talk. So I promised to come for a visit at her house this Saturday. Have you ever tasted persimmon? I feel like I have, but I'm not sure, but I have seen them in stores. I like lots of different kinds of fruit. What do you like? I like strawberries. I've done heard of them, but I never had one. You ain't growing strawberries in Oregon? Really? Okay. Stick bends down toward the ground of its own accord. It means something's there, maybe water. Maybe who knows what. Some forks find fresh water or even coins and such. Pepper calls her dowsing stick Mr. Reliable. Has she had much success? According to Pepper, Mr. Reliable always comes up with something from underground. Alright, what did you find today? We found all kinds of stuff, although we couldn't really prove it. The stick pointed out a lot of underground water, of course, since that's the main reason for dowsing, but we also found a tin badge and silver button. What's the best thing you found? At one point, Pepper gave it to me to hold, and all the while I was thinking that it's kind of an odd thing to name a dowsing rod. Sure enough, though it worked, I found a beautiful black arrowhead made of sling. Oh, that was cool. Oh my gosh, they eat bear. I felt embarrassed by that to my toes, and was real glad when Josiah shook hands with Pa and hurried off. After he'd gone, Pa went real loud and started walking up again, right beside me, not even daring to look back. Do you think Pa doesn't like Josiah? No? What you gonna do? Chores? Maybe he's scared you're gonna get married. I hadn't thought of it that way. You think my pa's worried about losing me? Probably all fathers are. Oh my goodness. It's a love triangle. She has two guys that like her. I asked Aunt June about this and she showed me how to figure it out. Mom says it's just a silly superstition, but Aunt June swears it's a truth-telling system. She says first you peel an apple all in one piece without breaking the peel at all. Then you give it a toss, and when it lands, it'll spell out the first initial of your true love. Huh. I wonder if that works. Chris and I just peeled an apple, being real careful to keep the peel on one piece, and now it's time to tell my fortune. Good luck. I just tossed the peeling over my shoulder and about to turn around, had it laying there on the ground. Which letter was it? By golly, it's a J! Oh, wow. A J. between the lace curtains and all, I felt her watching me closely. I still want that as bad as she does, I swear I do. But my heart's in a dilemma, to be sure. When Pepper said, "Wade's sure sweet on you, Hattie," I didn't know how to reply, so I just nodded and stared into the fire, wishing some answer would leap out and burn me with the truth. Do you think Pepper knows how I feel about Josiah? I don't know, but she's totally looking out for Wade. Well, he is her brother, and it's part of the plan we made. That's the bed where you sleep, Hattie? I thought his voice was nearly in shock from the sound of it. Then he invited me over to his and Elizabeth's. We had the best time at Elizabeth's house. What did you do? We played hide and seek all over their house. It was Elizabeth's idea, and even though I think it's a thing for younger children than all of us, Josiah agreed to play, so I felt I should too. Ooh, what'd you guys eat for supper? They served venison for dinner. Oh, yes, baby cow. I think it's I forgot how to say this word. I think it's venison, but I know I'm gonna know in a second. But yeah, that baby cow stuff, I don't eat that. Which I didn't like at all, to be honest. But after dinner, we played hide and seek some more. It seemed specifically fun when Josiah came hunting for me and found me crouched beside the big armoire in the back bedroom. Did anything happen between you and Josiah? Listen to this. Beside the armoire, he grabbed my arms with his hands and pulled me right close to him, and I dare say he was thinking of kissing me. Have you ever been kissed, Kristen? This is such a personal question. Well, just by my parents and stuff. Me too, but I've never been kissed by a boy. Monday, December 11th. It appears Ma and Aunt June are all in favor of me being courted by Josiah Sawyer. They could talk of nothing else tonight at supper. It made me feel a little excited to think of it, I admit. That way I could for sure live in a big house, no question. Plus he's a smart boy and well on his way in the world. Being all of 17 just this fall, I discovered. But Pa sure isn't having any of Josiah. What does that say about him? He calls Josiah Mr. Josiah High and Mighty, which just to me he doesn't approve. I wonder why. Josiah just stood there poking at the animal with stones and laughing as if it was some kind of cruel game. I didn't do nothing except to take hold tight of Wade's elbow and turn him around, claiming I was so cold I couldn't walk another step except toward home. Now that my feelings have caught up with me, I'm hopping mad at Josiah. I think you should drop him immediately. Animal cruelty is a no-no. Oh, Kristen, my heart's breaking. I can't talk about it no more. Just before bed, still thinking on what I witnessed, and I can't do nothing but think on it. I'm more sure than ever Wade knew all along about who was at the river. He probably saw Josiah just before he came to fetch me, which is why he rushed me down there as fast as he could, it seems like. That is a hurtful thing to show to a girl, though, isn't it? I should be so mad at him. I've been trying ever since it happened, but somehow I'm not able to get so mad at Wade as I'd like. Tonight, my life changed forever. You just never can predict how things will go. Did something surprising occur today? Tonight after supper, we were all sitting around the fire talking about plans for Christmas. That got me to thinking what a good time I had a year ago Christmas when we was just settling in. I mean to say, what a good time me and Wade had. Then, just as I conjured him up or something, there came a knock at the door, and in walked Wade himself. What did you do? We always have a good time with Wade. He's so well liked in this family. He's nearly part of us. Pop pulled him up a three-legged stool with no hesitation at all. Late though it was, and Ma brought sugar cookies. Pop proceeded then to talk a blue streak. What did your father have to say? He talked about how the square mile of land a man and woman get when they get married, and how the sooner a man claims his acreage around these parts, the better. I knew what Pa was up to. He was aiming to set a fire under Wade, I'm pretty sure. What did Wade do? Pa surely succeeded because I walked Wade outside as he was leaving, and we was out there only 10 seconds when clear out of the blue he proposed. Did you say yes? Hold your horses. The first instant after he proposed, without even thinking about it, I wanted to leap for joy and set the date for the wedding. Then I remembered all about Josiah and the complications I've been feeling lately. So I asked if I could give him my answer in a day or two after I thought it out. Okay. Was it romantic? I was too nervous to tell. We were just standing out in the cold, and in the moonlight I could see Wade looking at me with his calm, intelligent face, and I nearly melted, no matter the cold. Is that it? Oh yes, we can answer that one question about what Wade did after dinner.
All right.
This mirror was packed in a trunk we had to leave behind on the trail. We were all plain overjoyed when some new arrivals showed up at our cabin with the trunk. This mirror was another of Ma's heirlooms. Her grandma gave it to her, Ma, and she's fixin' to give it to me one day. Oh, he threw the puppy on the floor. Well, yep, okay, that's the end of Josiah. She said, Josiah, Sawyer, I wouldn't marry you if you was the richest bully on the face of the earth. Josiah was stunned when he realized it was me. He pushed aside, and then he said, well, I didn't ask you, did I? Oh, goodness. Sunday, December 17th. Seems like a lot's happened over the past few days. Feels like I grew up a lot the past few weeks, too. When I think on it, I know I got to imagining so hard about living in a big fancy house that I couldn't see nothing but being in love with Josiah Sawyer. But all the while, I was always watching myself around him that I never bothered to get to know his true side. With Wade, it's like I'm always being just myself and never having to worry about what he thinks, because he always thinks the best of me. Do you think me a fool for falling for Josiah? Stuff like this happens all the time. Sometimes you don't know someone. You know, I apologized to Mom when I told her I wasn't going to be seeing Josiah no more, and maybe not even Elizabeth Nina. But when I done that, Ma said, why, Hattie, apologize? Whatever for? I said it because I probably wasn't going to never marry a rich boy. She laughed and said all she wanted was having me happy as she could. And right this minute, I am too. Well, look at that. Remember that doe that we saw Josiah picking on? Apparently Wade rescued it and it's alive. That's a relief. You know what? I think that's the answer to this. What did Wade and I see that gave us good luck? The doe.
Good job.
There's a woodworker in town who makes the prettiest things you ever saw. He carved this horse out of a single piece of oak and polished it real pretty. I had to beg Pa, but we ended up trading 2 geese lamps of tallow for it. Oh, it's so pretty. Well, turns out that Wade had rescued the doe from the trap and from the hands of the cruel Josiah. Then I got the most bashful of all my life and said, you know what you asked me the other night? Well, my answer is yes. Wade let out the loudest whoop I ever heard and said, Hattie, this is the happiest day of all time. For me too. Tuesday, December 19th. A month from today, I'll be 15 years old. Wade and me will have our own parcel of land by then, too. It would be a lot of work and very cold weather to start building, but I got to have a house next to Pepper as soon as I can. Kristen, I'm so excited. Have you talked to Elizabeth? I saw Elizabeth on the road in town yesterday evening. She was friendly to me in a cool way, though. She said she heard the news and hoped I'd be happy. I will be. I don't know that for sure with all my heart, I told her. She nodded like she was about to say something more, but then nothing came. Evening. After lunch, Paul, Jake, Benny, me, and Wade all went and chopped down a tree for Christmas. We got lots of fir boughs, too, to lay around the floors and tack to the walls so it will smell as fresh and like Christmas inside us out. Mom says we'll string popcorn for the trees and cranberries. But even though we're doing so much to prepare for the holidays, we got as much to do for the wedding, I reckon. It isn't going to be fancy or nothing, but it will be extra special and nice. Where is the wedding going to be? In Aunt June and Uncle Tim's big barn, since there's room afterward, a fine party with all kinds of music and dancing and good things to eat. Her nightmare stopped, that's good. Now she doesn't have to live with that guilt anymore about the poisoning. Friday, December 22nd. 2 days till I'm hitched to Wade, and I'm nervous, but in a good way and happy way. Ma told me a little something today about the things to gather to make your wedding a specially lucky day. They are something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. Let's ask, because I know we're going to ask one of these. What will be the new thing she's getting? A brand new camisole with pink ribbons for Ma and Aunt June. Aw, that'll be pretty. In a little while, we'll all head off to for the wedding, and my life will take a big turn into new territory. I guess I'm used to that kind of thing in a way, so I ain't scared. I'm happy to bursting, in fact. And when I think back to the glow that shined from Pepper's face after she met Gideon, I now know exactly what she was feeling, and I'll always be grateful for her advice to help me figure out my way. Between dear Wade and Josiah, I promised I would record her advice on my wedding day, so here it is. She said, Hattie, you gotta look for a boy who thinks you're a precious gem he's lucky to have. And a true love is a thing that grows and gets deeper, even if it don't seem so exciting all at first. Never go chasing after some boy who's hardly pays you any mind, just 'cause he makes your heart flutter. The right boy will see how special you are and will always cherish that. No matter what, even on your bad days, even when you go live in a place that ain't so grand as his, you deserve the best. That's exactly what Pepper told me, and I think the best is exactly what I got. The Epilogue. For the rest of their happy lives, Hattie and Wade lived in their house adjacent to Pepper and Gideon. Although they were never able to have children of their own, they adopted the 6-year-old twins Sarah and Blue when the parents of the twins died in a buggy accident. Hattie's Aunt June and Uncle Tim had 3 sons and a daughter, and many of Hattie's cousins had successful lives in the rapidly developing West. The unexpected friendship that developed between Hattie and Mrs. Kenker on the Oregon Trail lasted until the widow died in her cottage in the summer of 1849. And that is the story of Hattie. It was a love story, better than the Abigail one. Abigail's was about her friend not really finding the right love. But Hattie found love. Okay, I'm going to say it was the Oregon Times. No.
Oops. Try again.
The Bugle?
Nope.
Oh dear.
Nice try, though.
There we
That's
go.
right.
Wade gave me these ribbons one day for no special reason. Times like that he makes me blush so, calling me the prettiest girl in Oregon. Which I know isn't so. He said he asked his pa to bring them back specially from the Fort Vancouver train post, just for me. Okay, we have another one. Potash sounds like potatoes, but I know that's not true. I'm gonna say mixing cement.
Nope.
No.
Nice try, though.
There we
You
go.
got it.
Nice going. This is my last collectible. It's Pa's pocket watch. Just about the only fancy thing he owns, I guess. If you missed any questions along the way, feel free to go back and answer them now. Let's see. I